Hello students, we're going to go ahead and work on our second part of Flowers for Algernon, and we're starting at the bottom of page 87, so please make sure you have your text, you have a writing utensil, so a pen or pencil, and you have a highlighter because you do need all three of those items in order to complete this assignment. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and we're going to look at our focus item for right now. And it says, Charlie hears good news about the experiment. Why is he so excited? That is what we're reading to find out. Okay, so we're reading with a purpose. All right, and this is something that good readers do. And we are trying to find that answer. And we will go ahead and make sure we can answer that as we move forward. And here we go. Progress report for March 8th. They're going to use me. I'm so excited I can hardly write. Dr. Niemer and Dr. Strauss had an arrangement about it first. Oh no, I was right. Argument. It's spelled very interestingly. About it first. Dr. Niemer was in the office when Dr. Strauss brought me in. Dr. Niemer was worried about using me, but Dr. Strauss told Miss Kinnian recommended me the best from all the people who she was teaching. I like Miss Kinnian because she's a very smart teacher. And she said, Charlie, you're going to have a second chance. If you volunteer for this experiment, you might get smart. They don't know if it will be permanent, but there's a chance. That's why I said, okay, even when I was scared, because she said it was an operation. She said, don't be scared, Charlie. You done so much with so little. I think you deserve it most of all. So I got scared when Dr. Niemer and Dr. Strauss argued about it. Dr. Strauss said I had something that was very good. He said I had a good motivation. I never even knew I had that. I felt proud when he said that not everybody has an IQ of 68, had that thing. I don't know what it is or where I got it, but he said Algernon had it too. Algernon's motivation is the cheese they put in his box. But it can't be that because I didn't eat any cheese this week. So I'm going to pause there for a moment and let's go ahead and see if we're able to now answer our question, which was our focus question. And again, this is a skill that good readers use, and it's creating a reason, a purpose for the reading. So they're giving us that question or that purpose, which is, why is Charlie so excited? Our main character. So go ahead and pause and answer that question in the notes area of your packet, and then we're going to go ahead and continue. So now I want you to go ahead to the reread section. Say that fast 5 times. And here it says the boxed passage. So again, we have a boxed passage, and it says to remember to check the footnotes. Why is Charlie a good candidate for the experiment? So we're going to go down to the bottom of the page. So a header is at the very top of a page, and a footnote is at the very bottom of a page. So hence the name. So as you see here, they're numbered. So if you go scroll yourself, if we look back up, next to the word motivation, when you first see it, if you see here, there is that number 4, because that tells you whenever there is this little number or little letter, that is telling you like, oh, they're going to give me more information about that word or what this is telling me. So, and it's usually a footnote, or it's going to be like in the back of the text, depending on what kind of book you're reading. So here it tells us motivation is Charlie's way of writing motivation. All right, a word referring to the inner drive that makes a person try hard. All right. And then number 5 was IQ, was Charlie's way of writing IQ, an abbreviation for intelligence quotient, which is what we went over in class the other day, which is a measurement of a person's intelligence, basically, like what they consider to be how smart you are, based on a test. All right, one test. And then number 6, which we have not gotten to yet, but we will get to it. So there's 5. And then if we go a little further, we will see that number 6 is right here, the very end. And it says Einstein's theory of VTI. Okay, so this is Charlie's way of writing Einstein's theory of relativity. Okay, so that is a reference to a scientist, Einstein, and his theory of space and time. All right, so that may or may not be something that you've heard of before, and that's okay if you have not. I'm assuming he's just going to be mentioning it. All right, so those are some things you do definitely want to keep in mind in terms of like there being a footnote, because it gives you some additional information, especially on words that maybe are unfamiliar, or if they're spelled differently, they'll give you an explanation as to why. So always a good thing to keep in mind. And so your question here is, why is Charlie a good candidate? So I'm going to reread the section and then you can go ahead and answer. It says, he said I had a good motivation. I never knew I had that. I felt proud when he said that not everybody with an IQ of 68 had that thing. I don't know what it is or where I got it, but he said Algernon had it too. Algernon's motivation is the cheese they put in his box. But it can't be that because I didn't eat any cheese this week. Okay, so pause for a moment and go ahead and answer the question of why is Charlie a good candidate for the experiment? Why is he a good person to be part of this this operation, this test? So that's what I'm asking you to make an educated guess on. Okay. And then as we move forward in these 3 paragraphs, so here, these 3 paragraphs, Charlie tries to write down some difficult words used by the doctors, hence Einstein's theory of relativity. All right. And so the stars, or the asterisks is what they're called, stand for missing parts of the unfamiliar words. So again, they're just giving you some information so that you know, oh, there's something missing. And maybe you can fill it in, maybe you can't. But either way, they're just letting you know that there's something that should be there. So then he told Dr. Niemer something I didn't understand. So while they were talking, I wrote down some of the words. He said, Dr. Niemer, I know Charlie is not what you had in mind as the first of your new breed of intellect. Couldn't get the word. Superman. But most people of his low ment are host and uncoop. They are usually dull, apath, and hard to reach. He has a good nature. He is interested and eager to please. Dr. Niemer said, remember, he will be the first human being ever to have his intelligence tripled by surgical means. Okay, so key point there, just to let you know, they're saying he's going to be the first human. So in science, you have to prove by first conducting an experiment on animals that your testing is safe to be done on humans. So that is a big deal that they are now allowed and able to test their theory, okay, their hypothesis, okay, on a human. And Charlie, it sounds like, is going to be the very first person to actually have this procedure done. So That's a big one. Dr. Strauss said, exactly. Look at how well he's learned to read and write for his low mental age. It's as great an achieve as you and I learning Einstein's theory of VIDI without help. That shows the intense motivation. It's comparet, tremend, achieve. I say we use Charlie. Okay, so overall, a lot of that's kind of hard to kind of catch, but basically, they just are saying we should use him. But both doctors are arguing and making good arguments back and forth as to why we should or should not use this person. All right, so we're going to go ahead and finish this part out here and pause and reflect. I didn't get all the words, and they were talking too fast, but it sounded like Dr. Strauss was on my side and like the other one wasn't. Then Dr. Niemer nodded. He said, all right, maybe you're right. We will use Charlie. When he said that, I got so excited. I jumped up and shook his hand for being so good to me. I told him, thank you, Doc. You won't be sorry for giving me a second chance. And I mean it like I told him. After the operation, I'm gonna try to be smart. I'm gonna try awful hard. Okay, so let's pause for a moment. And now we're going to go ahead and sequence the events of what occurred. So we're going to start with number 1, end with number 4. And here we go. They are stated in the following way. Dr. Strauss praises, or, gives praise for Charlie's motivation. The second item says, Charlie is chosen to have the operation. The third item says, Dr. Niemer and Dr. Strauss argue. And the fourth item says, Miss Kinnian encourages Charlie. So write numbers 1 through 4 in the order that those events occurred. And now, question 2, which again, this is what good readers do. This is a good reading strategy. Is so far, what questions do you have about the story? What is something that's not quite clear or not really quite making sense to you at the moment? I want you to write out at least one question so that as we're reading, we can see if your question, if you get an answer to it. Sometimes we do, sometimes we have to change our question as we're reading. So go ahead and pause the video and write down your question. Okay, so let's move along. And now we're going to go down to our next focus. And so our focus here is to read and find out how Charlie feels before and then after the operation. All right, so let's make sure that we keep those in mind. So Progress Report 5, March 10th, I'm scared. Lots of people who work here and the nurses and the people who gave me the tests came to bring me candy and wish me luck. I hope I have luck. I got my rabbit's foot and my lucky penny and my horseshoe. Only a black cat crossed me when I was coming to the hospital. Dr. Strauss says, don't be superstitious, Charlie. This is science. Anyway, I'm keeping my rabbit's foot with me. I asked Dr. Strauss if I'll beat Algernon in the race after the operation, and he said, maybe. If the operation works, I'll show that mouse I can be as smart as he is. Maybe smarter. Then I'll be able to read better and spell the words good and know lots of things and be like other people. I want to be smart like other people. If it works permanent, they will make everybody smart all over the world. They didn't give me anything to eat this morning. I don't know what that eating has to do with getting smart. I'm very hungry, and Dr. Niemer took away my box of candy. That Dr. Niemer is a grouch. Dr. Strauss says I can have it back after the operation. You can't eat before an operation. Progress Report 6, March 15th. The operation didn't hurt. He did it while I was sleeping. They took off the bandages from my eyes and my head today so I can make a progress report. Dr. Niemer, who looked at some of my other ones, says, I spelled progress wrong. And he told me how to spell it and report too. I got to try and remember that. I have a very bad memory for spelling. Dr. Strauss says it's okay to tell about the things that happened to me, but he says I should tell more about what I feel and what I think. When I told him I don't know how to think, he said, try. All the time when the bandages were on my eyes, I tried to think. Nothing happened. I don't know what to think about. Maybe if I ask him, he'll tell me how I can think now and that I'm supposed to get smart. What do smart people think about? Fancy things, I suppose. I wish I knew some fancy things already. Progress Report 7, March 19th. Nothing is happening. I had lots of tests and different kinds of races with Algernon. I hate that mouse. He always beats me. Dr. Strauss said I got to play those games, and he said sometime I got to take those tests over again. Those ink blots are stupid. And those pictures are stupid too. I like to draw a picture of a man and a woman, but I won't make up lies about people. I got a headache from trying to think so much. I thought Dr. Strauss was my friend, but he don't help me. He don't tell me what to think or when I'll get smart. Miss Killian didn't come to see me. I think writing these progress reports are stupid too. Okay, we're going to pause and reflect. So, as we go back to our focus question, it was, how does Charlie feel before and then after the operation? So go ahead and write down the before and after here in the notes section, and you can go ahead and pause. And then now we're going to go ahead and do the pause and reflect. And it says here, number 1, how does Charlie feel before the operation? Circle 2 words below. And the first word option is cheerful. So remember, this is before, okay, before the operation. Cheerful, frightened, angry, or superstitious. So to be superstitious means that, like, if you break a mirror, you have bad luck for 7 years. So people who really fully believe those things, people who believe that horseshoes bring good luck, different things like that. So that is what they mean by superstitious. And now the second thing that you need to do is to mark it up. We're going to reread the box passage, and we're going to circle the words and phrases that show how Charlie responds to his lab tasks. So the things that the doctors are asking him to do, how is he responding to those things? So that's what we want to circle, so specific words or phrases, so we can circle and underline. How is he responding? Okay, so here we go. Nothing is happening. I had lots of tests and different kinds of races with Algernon. I hate that mouse. He always beats me. Dr. Strauss said I got to play those games. And he said sometime I got to take those tests over again. Those ink blots are stupid. And those pictures are stupid too. I like to draw a picture of a man and woman, but I won't make up lies about people. Okay, so just within the box, you're going to go ahead and circle any words or phrases that show, okay, we're showing, how does Charlie respond to his lab tasks, so the tests and things he has to take. Okay, and now we're going to continue. All right, our focus here for this time is Charlie writes about his friends at work. Okay, so now we're going to a different environment. So about his friends at work and about his nights at the lab. All right, so we're in 2 different places now. I want you to circle, so here's your mark it up, it's circle the details that show you how Charlie's friends treat him. All right, so this is very interesting. So I do want you to make sure you are focusing in on this. How do Charlie's friends treat him? And we can talk about your thoughts on it. Progress Report 8, March 23rd. I'm going back to work at the factory. They said it was better I should go back to work, but I can't tell anyone what the operation was for, and I have to come to the hospital for an hour every night after work. They're going to pay me money every month for learning to be smart. I'm glad I'm going back to work because I miss my job and all my friends and all the fun we have there. Dr. Strauss says I should keep writing things down, but I don't have to do it every day, just when I think of something or something special happens. He says don't get discouraged because it takes time and it happens slow. He says it took a long time with Algernon before he got 3 times smarter than he was before. That's why Algernon beats me all the time, because he had that operation too. That makes me feel better. I could probably do that amazed faster than a regular mouse. Maybe someday I'll beat Algernon. Boy, that would be something. So far, Algernon looks like he might be smart permanent. Okay, and so one little thing to keep in mind, the word amazed is Charlie's way of saying a maze. So like a maze that you have to work your way through. Okay. March 25th. I don't have to write progress report on top anymore. Just when I hand it in once a week for Dr. Niemer to read. I just have to put the date on. That saves time. We had a lot of fun at the factory today. Joe Carp said, "Hey, look where Charlie had his operation. What did they do? Charlie put some brains in?" I was going to tell him, but I remembered Dr. Strauss said no. Then Frank Riley said, "What do you do, Charlie? Forget your key and open your door the hard way?" That made me laugh. They're really my friends and they like me. So pause for a minute and think, are they really his friends based on how they are speaking to him? Sometimes somebody will say, "Hey, look at Joe or Frank or George. He really pulled a Charlie Gordon." I don't know why they say that, but they always laugh. This morning, Amos Borg, who is the foreman at Donegan's, used my name when he shouted at Ernie, the office boy. "Ernie lost a package." He said, "Ernie, for God's sake, what are you trying to be, a Charlie Gordon?" I don't understand why you said that. I never lost any packages. So let's pause for a second and let's go back here to our marking it up. What details can you circle to show how Charlie's friends treat him? So make sure you have done that. And then we have here the box passage. And what I'd like you to do is I want you to think, what do you think Charlie's friends mean by pulled a Charlie Gordon? You think that's a positive connotation or a negative connotation? So give me your thoughts on that. Okay, and that's what's highlighted here. Okay. March 28th, Dr. Strauss came to my room tonight to see why I didn't come in like I was supposed to. I told him I didn't like to race with Algernon anymore. He said I don't have to for a while, but I should come in. He had a present for me, only it wasn't a present, but just for lend. So for a short time. I thought it was a little television, but it wasn't. He said I gotta turn it on when I go to sleep. I said, "You're kidding. Why should I turn it on when I'm going to sleep? Who ever heard of a thing like that?" But he said, if I want to get smart, I gotta do what he says. I told him I don't think I was going to get smart, and he put his hand on my shoulder and said, "Charlie, you don't know it yet, but you're getting smarter all the time. You don't notice for a while." I think he was just being nice to me to make me feel good because I don't look any smarter. Oh, yes, I almost forgot. I asked him when I can go back to the class at Miss Kinnian's school. He said I won't go there. He said that soon Miss Kinnian will come to the hospital to start and teach me special. I was mad at her for not coming to see me when I got the operation, but I like her, so maybe we'll be friends again. March 29th. That crazy TV kept me up all night. How can I sleep with something yelling crazy things all night in my ears? And the nutty pictures. Wow, I don't know what it says when I'm up. So how am I going to know when I'm sleeping? Dr. Strauss says it's okay. He says my brains are learning when I sleep, and that will help me when Miss Kinnian starts my lessons in the hospital. Only I found out it isn't a hospital. It's a laboratory. I think it's all crazy. If you can get smart when you're sleeping, why do people go to school? The thing I don't think will work. I used to watch The Late Show and The Late Late Show on TV all the time, and it never made me smart. Maybe you have to sleep while you watch it. Okay, so we're going to go here to this pause and reflect. How do Charlie's friends treat him? So I want you to go ahead and evaluate based on what you have collected for your evidence so far. And number 2 is asking, what does Dr. Strauss bring Charlie? Circle the answer below. So what do you think he is giving him to listen to at night? Is it a book, a TV for sleep learning, a tape recorder, or a white mouse? So which of those items, and it's only going to be one, which one does he provide Charlie for at night? Okay, so now here we go to our next focus area. Charlie's friends get him in trouble. Read to find out what happens on their night out. And then we're going to mark it up as we read. We want to underline and highlight the details of the events of that evening. So Progress Report 9, April 3rd. Dr. Strauss showed me how to keep the TV turned low, so now I can sleep. I don't hear a thing, and I still don't understand what it says. A few times I played over in the morning to find out what I learned when I was sleeping, and I don't think so. Miss Kinnian says maybe it's another language or something, but most times it sounds American. It talks so fast, faster than even Miss Gold, who was my teacher in 6th grade. And I remember she talked so fast I couldn't understand her. I told Dr. Strauss what good is it to get smart in my sleep. I want to be smart when I'm awake. He says it's the same thing, and I have 2 minds. There's the subconscious and the conscious. That's how you spell it. And one don't tell the other what it's doing. They don't even talk to each other. That's why I dream. And boy, have I been having crazy dreams. Wow. Ever since that night TV. The late show. Okay. So here we have some information about subconscious versus your conscience. And we have the prefix of sub, meaning under or below. So your subconscious is when you are under a deeper sleep. And so that is when you actually are dreaming. And so there we go. So here we go. I forgot to ask him if it was only me or if everybody had those 2 minds. I just looked up the word in the dictionary Dr. Strauss gave me. The word is subconscious, adjective, of the nature of mental operations, yet not present in consciousness, as subconscious conflict of desires. There's more, but I still don't know what it means. This isn't a very good dictionary for dumb people like me. Anyway, the headache is from the party. My friends from the factory, Joe Carp and Frank Riley, invited me to go with them to Muggsy's saloon for some drinks. I don't like to drink, but they said we will have lots of fun. and I had a good time. Joe Carp said I should show the girls how I mop out the toilet in the factory, and he got me a mop. I showed them, and everyone laughed when I told that Mr. Donegan said I was the best janitor he ever had because I like my job and do it good and never come late or miss a day except for my operation. I said, Miss Kenyon always said, Charlie, be proud of your job because you do it good. Everybody laughed and we had a good time. And they gave me lots of drinks, and Joe said Charlie is a card when he's potted. So let's go down. See, we have that number 7 there. So we're going to go down. Charlie is a card when he's potted, meaning Charlie is funny when he's drunk. Okay, so being potted and in this time period is meaning when you're drunk. So if that was not given to us informational-wise, I would not have known that reference. So I don't know what that means, but everybody likes me and we have fun. I can't wait to be smart like my best friends, Joe Carp and Frank Riley. I don't remember how the party was over, but I think I went out to buy a newspaper and coffee for Joe and Frank, and when I came back, there was no one there. I looked for them all over till late. Then I don't remember so good, but I think I got sleepy or sick. A nice cop brought me back home. That's what my landlady, Mrs. Flynn, says. But I got a headache and a big lump on my head and black and blue all over. I think maybe I fell, but Joe Carp says it was the cop that beat up drunks sometimes. I don't think so. Miss Kenyon says cops are to help people. Anyway, I got a bad headache and I'm sick and hurt all over. I don't think I'll drink anymore. So we just got a lot of information, and as we were reading through, we wanted to make sure that we underlined the details and the events of the evening. So we had a lot that went on, and so hopefully you guys did underline that. If not, go ahead and pause and come back. And now in the blue outlined box, it is asking us here in number 1 in the pause and reflect, the read aloud. Why do the people laugh at Charlie? Okay, so I'm going to reread it. And so you're going to tell me, why are they laughing at Charlie? They're not laughing with Charlie. They're laughing at Charlie. And those are two very different things. Joe Carp said I should show the girls how I mop out the toilet in the factory, and he got me a mop. I showed them, and everyone laughed when I told that Mr. Donegan said I was the best janitor he ever had because I like my job and do it good and never come late or miss a day except for my operation. So why are they laughing at him? Go ahead and write down your thoughts on that. And now the second thing is asking, what did his friends do to cause Charlie to be brought home by a police officer? So it's a sequence of events that happen, all right? So we're going to go ahead and complete each sentence in the cause and effect chain here. So Charlie's friends first do what? And because they did this, Charlie does this. And then the policeman does what? So we have cause, effect, effect. Everything has an reaction. So all right, we have one more page. So our focus here on this one is to read and find out about how Charlie feels about Algernon. So remember earlier, a little bit earlier, he was really not his biggest fan because he was still beating him in the mazes. So April 6th, I beat Algernon. I didn't even know I I beat him until Bert, the tester, told me. Then the second time I lost because I got so excited I fell off the chair before I finished. But after that, I beat him 8 more times. I must be getting smarter to beat a smart mouse like Algernon, but I don't feel smarter. I wanted to race Algernon some more, but Bert said that's enough for one day. They let me hold him for a minute. He's not so bad. He's soft like a ball of cotton. He blinks, and when he opens his eyes, they're black and pink on the edges. I said, can I feed him? Because I felt bad to beat him, and I wanted to be nice and make friends. Bert said no. Algernon is a very special mouse with an operation like mine, and he was the first of all the animals to stay smart so long. He told me Algernon is so smart that every day he has to solve a test to get his food. It's a thing like a lock on a door that changes every time Algernon goes in to eat. So he has to learn something new to get his food. That made me sad, because if he couldn't learn, he'd be hungry. I don't think it's right that you pass a test to eat. How would Dr. Newmer like it to have to pass a test every time he wants to eat? I think I'll be friends with Algernon. So why is it so important for Charlie to beat Algernon? Why is that such a big accomplishment? Why was that such a big thing for him? Go ahead and pause and answer that question. And then how do Charlie's feelings for Algernon change from the previous time to now where we are in the story? Write the answer below and then circle the details that led you to the answer. So you can give a couple of examples from after his surgery, right? How did he feel about Algernon, and now where he is and how he's feeling. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and end on this page here, and we're gonna go ahead and read April 9th's progress report. Our focus here is to find out what Charlie learns as he works with Miss Kinnian. So remember, this is his teacher from the adult night school, and she's coming to the laboratory to teach him. So tonight after work, Miss Kinnian was at the laboratory. She looked like she was glad to see me, but scared. I told her, don't worry, Miss Kinnian, I'm not smart yet, and she laughed. She said, I have confidence in you, Charlie. The way you struggled so hard to read and write better than all the others. At worst, you will have it for a little while, and you're doing something for science. We're reading a very hard book. I never read such a hard book before. It's called Robinson Crusoe, about a man who gets marooned on a desert island. He's smart and figures out all kinds of things so he can have a house and food, and he's a good swimmer. Only I feel sorry because he's all alone and he has no friends. But I think there must be somebody else on the island because there's a picture with his funny umbrella looking at footprints. I hope he gets a friend and not be lonely. April 10th, Miss Kinnian teaches me to spell better. She says, look at a word, close your eyes, and say it over and over until you remember. I have lots of trouble with through, that you say through and enough and tough, that you don't say enu and to. You get to say enough and tough. That's how I used to write it before I started to get smart. I'm confused, but Miss Kinnian says there's no reason in spelling. Okay, and that is where we pause for today.